Integrated spine capacity. Most of us have internal resources that are underdeveloped. We refer to this collection of internal resources as the acronym SPINE. Spine capacity is your ability to develop and integrate the following internal resources: spiritual, physical, intellectual, intuitive, emotional. The ability to develop and integrate your spine dimensions is the backbone of human potential and leadership development. Spine definitions. Spiritual. Sense of meaning, purpose, and community at work. Physical. Understands how to manage well-being and energy, uses body as signaling system. Intellectual. Comfortable with complexity and ambiguity, thinks systematically. Intuitive. Able to see patterns in unrelated data, source of creativity and insight. Emotional. Emotions have information, able to regulate emotions and attune to self and others.
The best tool I gained the first day was moving from work-life balance to work-life integration. And once I moved this idea of balance into integration, my whole piece of that changed. Because to balance, when you're a high energy, competent, achievement-oriented person, I'm counting the minutes that I'm spending on balance and not the qualitative. And integration was a qualitative expression, and balance felt to me like a time-limited piece. And I've made changes in my life around integration as opposed to balance, because this job will require a lot from me. It will never I'll never have as much spare time as I will be devoted to work time. But how I integrate my personal time and my family time into my work piece in a comfortable way is much more achievable than some artificial construct of balance.
I was really excited about the whole person approach. That really intrigued me. So, and learning, kind of jumping into the brain-based research was very helpful.
Without knowing the language of the whole leader at the time, I felt that I had to be more in control in the workplace. I had to maybe wear more of a mask. I had to not allow them to see me as a human, maybe. And I really had regrets and sadness.
Because thinking serves at the pleasure of emotion, emotional maturation provides the foundation for the quantum leap from intelligence to wisdom. Louis John Cozzolino.
Well, I remember when we did our drawing of the spine, I drew a vertical stacked spine, and I had one portion which was my intuition, which was huge and way out of proportion to everything else. But for me, I think the area that was really neglected was the emotional aspect of myself. But the emotional area was really quite stunted, because I had grown up sort of feeling like I had to be the strong one, again related to I had to be in control, I had to be strong, therefore I couldn't really show my emotions. And I felt emotions didn't have any place in the work environment. They were so messy, and I just didn't think there was any benefit to me. And I now have begun to learn and understand that the intellect without being informed by emotion and feeling is impaired. It's not fully functioning, and I can't just live in my head anymore as an ED and try to make decisions that way. So bringing out the heart meant showing more vulnerability, and there have been instances now, a number of meetings with staff or board where, and particularly with more coaching from you, I've been willing to allow that to happen.
Neuroscience-based interventions. Integrated capacity assessment, somatic-based interventions, exercises to integrate the left and right hemispheres, individual development plans and coaching. Leader outcomes: emotional regulation, stronger critical and strategic thinking, increased creativity, well-being, increased intuition accuracy, connection to meaning and purpose at work.
Many strong leaders don't like ambiguity. And I become more comfortable with ambiguity. I need the patience to not force it to happen faster than it should. So I'll sort of hear your voices, knowing that when you've been used to solving problems, you don't want tension to linger for long periods of time. You just want to like make it all better. Some of this I can't make all better. Some of it I have to let the organization live with. And that's a difference in me. So I think that's going to be the next step of this journey.
We just had an issue last week that my intuition was to do something, but I let it bubble up because I was so upset about it. I let it just incubate. Incubate is the word, incubate.
Yeah.
And I ended up doing what I'd planned to do, but it was in a much more organized fashion, and a much better and a less emotionally passionate manner, which was good for this particular situation, and it ended up working out.
Yeah.
But it was funny, just the process was funny because I was very, very aware of my reactions, way more than I would have normally been. My reactions, trying to identify why I was so upset, moved pretty quickly through that phase and into action, and kind of employing who I needed to employ to get that action done, and really taking care of it very quickly.
Think of your spine as the backbone for developing a complexity mindset.
People moved away from the facade of who they are as leaders into who they were as human beings, and still could be really effective leaders.
Reflection questions. What spine dimensions do you rely on? Which are underdeveloped? What gives you energy, and what depletes you throughout your workday? Do you find meaning and inspiration in the work that you do? How much of your whole self do you bring to work?